Hello, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our second weekly transfer roundup show. We did it last week, and it's pretty interesting. Some very nice insights. And then, with the week has passed, the transfer window is officially open as well, and so we've got a lot of new information that's coming. And so we're here to discuss a few other things, to see how things are moving, and of course, some big news as well to discuss. So, joining me today, we've changed it up. We don't have the city folks anymore, so we've got a few different guys. We've got Nishikant once again back in the show. Nishikant, welcome. How are you doing?
Good, Roy. Thanks for having me again.
Enjoying a bit of the
Pleasure
tan.
to be back.
Yeah, enjoying a bit of the tan, I see. Yeah, on the beach.
On the virtual tan on a virtual beach, sure.
Yeah, it's great. And we've got Saahil as well. Joining Saahil, welcome. How are you doing as well?
Hey, Roy. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, we two of us are in the more unglamorous setting. It's like on a beach. Speaking of beach as well, Chelsea seem to be on the beach as well with regards to transfers. We'll talk about that. Let's start with the breaking news. Darwin Nunes looks like that deal is almost done now. Mauricio Pochettino has given a here we go. I don't like to do here we goes. I like to wait until it's official, then we do the reaction. So we'll do that. But Nishikant, €100 million deal for Darwin Nunes. Do you think that's the right price for the player? I think it's a bit overpriced, perhaps.
I mean, everything is overpriced these days.
Inflation, right? Yeah, even gas. Oh my God.
Inflation
Yeah.
and the fact that transfer market is like that, when especially if a big club tries and approaches a player, the price just jacks up. So you could argue, I think nowadays, whether or not a price was too high could only be judged based on the player's performance, how he does for the club. So I don't know because he's a forward, right? And forward is a goal scoring player is a rare commodity in world football. It's the costliest asset anyway. It has always been. And the place and in the times where goalkeepers are going for 70 odd million, 60 odd million, it's not too astonishing. It's not too surprising to see someone who's regarded as a very good prospect, a huge talent, going for 100 million. So we'll see how it does, and probably then we can see whether he was overpriced or not.
Yeah. Well, Nishant, why did you do big club in air quotes? Are you trying to say Liverpool are not a big club? Because that really, I'm just thinking, hey, did that, right? Like you saw it, right?
Yeah. That's not what I meant. What I meant was the general idea of a big club, the more famous ones. If you look at history, Nottingham Forest have 2 Champions League, Manchester City have none, right? So, but if you want to, would you call Manchester City a bigger club or Nottingham Forest? You'd probably say Manchester City, right? So that's just the thing right now. We live in the moment, so whatever is a big club, probably if this would have happened, let's say 5-6 years ago, when Liverpool weren't doing that well, maybe they wouldn't have had to pay 100 million for Nunes. Right? But today they do, so it's just down to that.
Yeah. And Sai, how do you see? I mean, Darwin Nunes coming in, will that does of course mean it seems like Klopp is trying to refresh the attack a little bit now. I think you're seeing probably Mane is going to leave. Origi's left, of course. Salah might leave next season as well. So, do you think that he's already starting to plan for departures and trying to sort of de-age the squad a little bit and get some, and maybe a different style as well?
Yeah, I think it's definitely revamping the squad, basically phasing out the people who are on the wrong side of 30 and getting younger players who he thinks he can still polish, like players who aren't the finished products, but players he thinks he can probably kind of fine tune them into the way he wants them to play. It seems like Nunez's best moments have come in transitions over the last season, at least from what I've seen the highlights. So I guess Klopp still has like some work to do over there. But yeah, definitely, I guess since Mane is leaving, he needs someone else to replace the goals. I don't think Luis Diaz is there to replace his goal set. And since Mane started playing as a centre forward, I would think that's where Nunes will continue playing once he leaves.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well. Yeah, they probably will have to let Mane go, because then you've got Salah, Luis Diaz, Firmino, and Jota. So if you sign a player for 100 million euros, you probably expect them to be starting. week in, week out, unless you're Manchester City, of course. That would be some. Yeah, so I would assume that it does mean they might sell Mane. But keeping outside, we'll stay outside of Europe for a while. And about Mauricio Pochettino, Sahil. So another saga that seems to drag on. Is he sacked? Is he not sacked? Some say he's sacked. It's conflicting reports. It's almost like he's waiting to be sacked, or like for some reason PSG waiting to sack him.
This has drawn out for way longer than I thought it would, but I guess maybe because PSG are still changing the sporting director. I think Luis Campos just joined, I think 2 days ago, if I'm not wrong. So I guess once that is in place, they would probably want to like all decide and take up on Pochettino, which I think it's inevitably leaves. It's just a question of when. But yeah, I don't know what's in store for Pochettino for now. I think he might have to like take half a season off because there seem to be no openings for him in Europe. But yeah, it's just really absurd that it's taken so long when it was pretty obvious that he doesn't have the confidence of the bigger players to continue.
Yeah, it's just it's a weird situation. Nishikant, the person who they want to replace him is Zinedine Zidane. Now, well, there was more reports that came in that Zidane, might be interested in the job, and then he's quickly shut it down. Do you think PSG can convince Zidane to join them, or do you think they should probably just look for a different manager? Which I think they probably are. I think they have other people shortlisted as well, right? Yeah.
What PSG want right now is someone who would win them the Champions League, right? Because otherwise it doesn't make sense to sack Pochettino, because he won the league. He won the only place he faltered was the Champions League. So that's what PSG want. That's their holy grail, right? And Zidane has that proven capability of winning Champions League, of winning multiple Champions League, winning domestic leagues as well. So I don't think it makes much sense to sack Pochettino if it's not to win the Champions League, because who else are they going to target right now? Someone with a proven pedigree of winning Champions League. It's got to be Zidane, right? Although his agent did come up and say that these rumors are just that rumors, and there's no truth in that. And at the before we started hearing about Pochettino sacking, there were rumors floating around that Zidane had been approached and he had rejected the offer because he didn't believe in the project or whatever, right? But ultimately, PSG have that money, that kind of financial power, wherein they can make the offer, which would be very difficult for anyone not insane to refuse, right? If it makes your next 2 generations live comfortably without having to work a day, why would you refuse? And from what I read, I think a couple of days back, that Emir of Qatar is himself involved in making sure that Zidane is the next manager. So I don't think they would leave no stone unturned, especially as far as the financial things go. I'm sure there would be a huge offer, just like they made to Mbappe, to make sure that he stays back at PSG. So I think, Zidane might be coming there, despite what agents are probably saying right now. That would be a possibility. But if that isn't a possibility, I see no point in sacking Pochettino, right? Because there's no one else available with that kind of proven pedigree, unless you go for like a Pep Guardiola or someone like that, which is probably difficult because they're also pretty much settled in the job that they have. So Zidane is the most obvious choice. It's the only obvious choice, if I could say so. So if it's not Zidane, there's no point sacking Pochettino.
Yeah, well, the talk is that they might be interested in Christophe Gaultier, who actually won Ligue 1 with Lille, I believe, last season. So
but Ligue 1 doesn't matter to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't, but he did beat PSG for it. So that might be. I don't think I just think that with the egos that are there right now, I think they need somebody with a bigger ego than all of them. I think Zidane is probably the guy that they need if they're going to try to control all those players. But otherwise, yeah, anybody else you bring in, it's probably not going to be the best sort of harmonious squad, especially with what Mbappe, apparently the power that Mbappe now has at the club. So that will be something that I'm sure they will be thinking about as well. Maybe saying what they might give Zidane. Maybe Zidane might get a couple of mentions in Qatar or something. I don't know what the deal will be to bring him in, or maybe like a controlling stake in the club as well. This is again more than that. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding, of course. But yeah, we'll move on with that one. We'll keep an eye on that one and see who comes in and who doesn't. Let's talk about Barcelona.
PSG might do that.
Sorry, they might do that.
You never know. PSG might do that.
No, they might. Yeah. They might think about that. I mean, the thing is, with all the power that Mbappe reportedly has, you've got to be able to counterbalance that with whatever you give Zidane or whoever the manager is. So I guess they might Zidane wants that kind of respect and that kind of authority. So I'm sure they'll be thinking about that. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they move forward on that deal. So, but we'll keep an eye on it. We'll talk about Barcelona very quickly. So now the thing about Barcelona, we all know what the issues are financially, but Lewandowski wants to join. But at what point, if you're Robert Lewandowski, do you? I mean, he wants to be Bayern. That's pretty much obvious, and he's kind of set his mind that I want to go to Barcelona. But at what point do you think he'll be thinking to himself, this deal, whatever Barcelona taking a long time to solve all their financial issues, no guarantee that they will do it quickly. At what point do you start thinking that maybe there's another club that I could go to? Because I mean, Chelsea need a striker. They might be interested. Apparently rumors that Newcastle might be interested. I don't think it's the time. I think that will happen in 3 or 4 years from now. Yes, those kind of things will make sense. Right now it doesn't. The other clubs that need strikers. So do you think Lewandowski might be getting a bit thinking maybe I should start talking to other clubs? What else is out there?
To be honest, I would have thought he would have kept his options open from before, but it seemed that he had his heart set on Barcelona for a reason that I could not comprehend at that time. Because I don't know why he wanted to join a club which was not really close to winning the Champions League, and given that he only has so many years left as like one of the best goal scoring forwards in Europe, like you would think that he would probably want to join a more settled project. But it seems like even if he thinks that he wants to like join another club right now, I don't see a lot of other elite clubs in Europe which need a striker of his caliber. Like most of them seem to be settled up front. Like you look at Liverpool's, Man City's, like I don't think they would go for a player like Lewandowski right now. I don't think Madrid need a forward. Maybe they do, but I don't think he can play well with Benzema. Like Mbappe was going to be signed for a different role. Same goes for PSG. So it seems like his only option is Barcelona. I don't think Chelsea will go for a striker. I think they've invested too much in Lukaku just to like bet him off after one season. I think a preseason will also do him good. He didn't really have a preseason last year, so I think even though it's kind of weird to say that a striker shouldn't be judged on his first season, especially if he was signed for 100 million. I still think he'd come off better in the second season, and maybe we should like hold our horses before dispersing him off. And I think that might be the thought process at Chelsea as well. But yeah, I think Lewandowski's kind of like fixed himself to Barcelona. I don't see, like, even if he wants to, I just don't see any club that he might be able to go to.
Yeah, but on Lukaku though, Sahil, and I'll come to Nishikant on this one. We start about Lukaku. It's not a matter of whether Chelsea want to keep Lukaku or not. It seems like he's pretty much said that he wants to go back to Inter. I think that's something that he's been wanting for like 6 months now. He wants to go back to Inter. So maybe that decision is out of Chelsea's hands in a way that, when the player wants to go, you kind of don't want to stand in their way.
That also seems out of Lukaku's hand because Inter themselves, they were in financial peril last season. I don't know if they're any better, but it doesn't seem like they can even afford like let's say like an 80% of what they received last season. I think Chelsea wouldn't want to sell for less than that. Like if you've signed a player for like just one season, if you've signed a player and one season later, like you still want to like cut your losses. So I don't think they would be able to sell for like less than 75-80 million, and it doesn't seem like AC Milan has the finances for that, right?
No, well, that's true, but
Nishikant,
no, that makes sense. Nishikant, the financials on that deal, this is what it is. It's basically a loan deal that will probably be around 15-20 million euros that they will pay, and then hopefully a loan with an option to buy or something of that sort. Yeah, Nishikant, to that point, would you want to keep Lukaku for another season, just given everything that's happened, or would you want to sell him?
I would want to get rid of him. I want to see his back as soon as possible, personally. Don't speak for every Chelsea fan, obviously.
Yeah.
But I would personally want to see his back as soon as possible. I agree with, I see where Sahil's coming from with, Inter's financial woes and everything. but I think the loan deal is probably more suitable for him. But that too hinges on the fact whether they pay us 20 million upfront and then they cover complete Lukaku wages. There were rumors about Chelsea asking for a player in the deal. One of the Inter's players, I can't recall his name right now.
Was it a striker or a defender? I think it was a defender.
No, I think it was a
was
defender.
Bastoni, I think it was.
Yeah, it could be. I really can't recall his name, but I think it was a defender.
Yeah.
So there was that. But I think ultimately it comes down to Chelsea, right? I think even Chelsea board, think that this is as soon as we can get rid of him and make as much money, recoup as much money as we can, that would be the best thing to do. So definitely let's if all things gets agreed with Inter. I don't really see, at this point, I would say there is like 40% chance of Lukaku staying with us, 60% that he goes to wherever the hell he goes. Whoever agrees to our terms and conditions, most likely it would be Inter because that's where he has his heart set. So yeah, but personally, I want him gone. Right. I think it's better. I mean, sure. If things hadn't panned out the way they did, I would have said give him a year, right? Because it was his first season, and it wasn't like the worst season. He would still score decent amount of goals, considering the strikers that we have had in the past. So we could have given him a year, another season, but all things considered, I think it's time that we get rid of it.
Yeah. So if you were to let go of Lukaku, then do you think the club should try to make a play for Lewandowski, just to try and see if he would be interested in coming? Because then Chelsea might need a striker, right? And I mean, you get one on free. You not just
I don't know if Leva would be for free because he still has 1 year left.
Oh yeah, he's not free. Sorry, yeah, he's not free, but he
so
doesn't want to
he
buy
would be for free, and he's already like what 35, 36. So I'm not sure.
33, I think it's 33 or 34.
33. Yeah. Okay, so and I'm not really sure if he's the kind of striker we need to go for, right? I'm not really. I mean, mostly because of his age, and the fact that he has. He has always been in that German league. So I mean, he's a great striker and everything, but given his age, he's probably not the wisest investment. And unless we get him for like 5 million, 10 million or so, we could still go for him. But I personally would want us to go for like a younger striker, someone in the range of 30-35 million, because I don't think big money striker signings do really well for us. And also I want us to retire number 9 or just throw it in the garbage. None of our strikers should be wearing number 9. So just do that and buy someone younger, wherein we have the potential to at least like get like 3-4 years out of them. Right, which you probably won't if we sign Lewandowski, and like Sahil mentioned, and if the media reports are to be trusted, he has his heart set on Barcelona. That's the only club he wants. Good luck to him. I think that's fair enough. Chelsea should anyway be looking at someone else rather than Lewandowski. Not that he's a bad striker or anything. I think he's a incredible striker, but I'm not sure if someone, a poacher like him, probably fits much into our system. We might as well go for someone like Costa, who could, or Costa and Drogba, who had this ability to kind of bully players and then make way for themselves, right? So someone like them would work for us.
There's a few strikers out there, I suppose.
Have you heard of this player called Tammy Abraham? Might work for you guys if you go for it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Tammy isn't really that sort of player. I'm not really, personally, if you ask me, I'd rather go with a strikerless formation. Because strikers do not work for us.
You already buy strikerless, right? Yeah, it's just a matter that you already are playing strikerless.
But we are playing a striker who's not contributing. So maybe someone like how Guardiola does it, right? They have these players, he knows how to get someone to score goals for them, right? So if we can do that, that would probably suit us more rather than, spending 100 odd millions on a traditional number 9 and that guy not coming to fruition, that guy not doing the best he could do for us. So instead of that, let's just go with a striker less formation. Kai Havertz did well in patches. Maybe keep trying him as a striker or something like that. Or we were linked with Gabriel Jesus recently. So, that he again is that kind of number 10 number striker, neither a number 9 nor a number 10 kind of player. So maybe that would be a better choice for us than going for a proper number 9.
Yeah, and Gabriel Jesus might not be going to Arsenal, will not be going to Arsenal. I think he's probably wants Champions League football, so maybe Chelsea is the place. Speaking of Arsenal, I mean, Sahil, a few news that's come out. So Guendouzi has left, more or less going to Marseille. Lacazette has left as well. Lucas Torreira might leave as well. So there's a lot of outgoings that are happening. Do you think it's part of now, that's the next part of phase of Arteta's thing, that he wants to kind of start offloading a few of these players that have been around for too long without playing any games, and then probably see if he can bring somebody in?
Yeah, definitely. I think Guendouzi was probably the most obvious one. He and Arteta never got along, and I think worked out well for both of them. Guendouzi's Guendouzi, I think he's made the French squad recently, if I'm not wrong. So I guess he's doing pretty well at Marseille. Yeah, I think he's probably looking for players that fit his philosophy more, and like who fit his, I guess, idea of discipline also more, because Guendouzi definitely had more problems on that side as well. So yeah, it seems like the club is definitely fully behind Arteta's vision. They have given the full commitment that they will follow him, follow him wherever he takes the club to. So yeah, I would I guess we might see a pattern in the signings he makes, like maybe more players in the mold of in terms of how Odegaard is as a, not as a player but as a person on the pitch, like a lot of determination, discipline. I guess he's also a young leader, so Arteta might go for more of those sorts.
Yeah. Do you think they can offload? Do you think they want to, and that they can offload Pepe in this Nicola Pepe in this?
I actually don't know the last time I saw Nicola Pepe on a football pitch. I haven't seen a lot of Arsenal, but even when I've seen, I really don't remember. I don't want to say that's just because I haven't seen him, he hasn't played. But if that's the case, it would be very, very hard to recoup any of that 70 million they spent on him. Like even half of it would be like an amazing deal at this point. I don't know if it does. It seems like Arteta doesn't rate him, so it would be difficult to get him up. But I guess it all depends on how many years he has on the contract.
Yeah, I think he signed 2 years. I think probably another 3 years left on his deal, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Nishikant, I mean, they're probably going to keep Nketiah, even though this might be released, but looks like he's going to get a new contract. So then they keep him. So in the striker positions, they'll still probably need one more, maybe another striker, maybe another midfielder.
Yeah, they do, because Partey is injury prone, and when he got injured this season, we saw that how Arsenal kind of capitulated on what could have been, and it looked like it would be a certain top 4 place. They were very well placed to finish top 4, and their midfield, the injuries that they had, and obviously they've let Aubameyang go, and they never really replaced him. So they definitely need a.
Is gone as well.
Yeah, now Lacazette is gone as well. So they definitely need a striker. Keeping Nketiah is probably a good move. He's a homegrown player, academy graduate, and maybe he could be kept as a second choice striker, provided they sign someone. They were linked with that Italian guy. Can't really. Scamacha. Yeah, something like So they were linked with that guy, 6'5", strong built, and has had a decent season in Syria. So they were linked with him. They definitely need someone, who could lead the line, and he could be probably a good fit for Arsenal in my opinion. So. But yeah, they need a striker. They need a midfielder, and I think they definitely do want to let Pepe go. How much that could actually happen given the price tag they put into and what the buyers want, that's a different story, because they kind of paid 75 million odd. If I remember correctly, Alex might bump this up to 25 odd million more. Yeah. So
35 million, yeah, but then it was an installment deal, so they probably have not paid much of it. So they can probably just tell
but a striker and a midfielder is the need of the hour for Arsenal if they want to finish top 4.
Yeah, they might also need a fullback, a backup left back, because
I think who's the right? Yeah,
the left back is Kieran Tierney. The right back was they have Cedric and Tomiyasu, I think was the other one. Yes.
Left back they do need one.
Yeah, because otherwise there's Nuno. It's not a Nuno.
So do Chelsea, and I think Chelsea also need a lot of fullbacks in demand right now.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, lots of fullbacks in demand, but there's a few good ones out there as well. We'll kind of wrap this up. We've got 2 more to cover. So it looks like Spurs, speaking of fullbacks, Spurs might get Jed Spence from Middlesbrough. Had a very good season on loan at Nottingham Forest. But the more clear thing in Conte also, and they also want to sign Richarlison. So Nishikant, we'll talk about Richarlison first, because he's a very polarizing player, because he looks like he's still young. He's only 24, I believe, and his numbers are okay. But it just feels that there's something missing in that next step. Do you think maybe Conte can get that out of him, that taking that next step to a top level footballer, or do you think it's just one of those flatter to deceive players who looks better than he actually is?
I think Conte has it in him to get the best out of him. He got the best out of Lukaku, where both Chelsea and Manchester United struggled. Right, so he got the best out of him. He got nobody thought Inter could win the league. He got them to win the league. Really. So he knows how to get the best out of players. He got the best out of Victor Moses of all people. Right. So Antonio Conte really.
Alexis
Sanchez. Yeah. So but Alexis Sanchez was already a proven player. Right? Victor Moses wasn't. Right. So and even Lukaku, he did well for Everton in patches, but really proving yourself at Everton versus proving yourself at a club, vying for title and competing for title is a very different thing. So he really knows how to get the best of the players. So if anyone can, Antonio Conte can. And while Richarlison might be a polarizing player, he does divide opinions, doesn't shy away from having a go at pundits on Twitter. So all that considered, he's a character, and he has done well for Everton. So it's not and I think Spurs are doing quite. They are really active in the market. I think Antonio Conte has the backing of the Spurs board, and especially the former Juventus director. I forgot what his name is. So I think that could be a good signing for them, because they are overly dependent on Son and Harry Kane right now, and if either of them gets injured, the other one doesn't perform as well. Right? Yeah. Because they kind of both need each other to do what they do. So definitely they need that kind of player like Richarlison.
Yeah, speaking of, I don't know, is it Jet Spence, is Jet Spence? I don't know, Sahil, but Jet Spence, someone who actually stood out in the championship at Nottingham Forest. One of those really interesting deals, 20 million pounds, I believe, is with add-ons, so it's not a bad deal to do. Do you think it's one of those under the radar signings that clubs sometimes make, and then it just seems to work out, because he's someone who's got potential?
Yeah, I mean, could be. I haven't seen him play, to be honest.
Well, so that's why I said Sahil, because Sahil might have seen him play, because Sahil was following Nottingham Forest a bit, so because of James, of course.
I've been just following. I think he was on loan at Middlesbrough, and they loaned him to Forest halfway this season or start of last season. Yeah, and it seems like he's a right wing back, attacking full back. So I'm pretty sure Conte has seen something that is obviously an upgrade on how he wants to use the right back position, which is currently occupied by Everson, who's like not that great going forward. So definitely, I think I think it would be one of the signings that you're going to keep your eye out on. Probably like a bargain FPL pick who might bag you some goals, given that Conte wants his fullbacks to attack the penalty box very often.
Yeah, for sure. That one is, of course, one to keep an eye on as well. I think he's a good player. I think he was linked briefly with Manchester United as well, but everybody seems to be linked with Manchester United. So that's okay. To move on. I actually have one more question, but before that, I'll ask Nishikant about this guy, N'Golo Kante. There is, of course, talks of a new contract for him with Chelsea, but is there a price you would sell him at? Would you consider selling him this season? Considering, he's had his injury issues, if there is a right offer, and what is that right offer? Would you say to Chelsea, if you were to Chelsea people, you'd say, maybe we should sell him, maybe we can find someone else to, because he's not getting much any younger. Would you consider that deal, or do you think, no, Chelsea should keep him at all costs? And you're muted, by the way. You're muted.
I have given that a thought, right? I did give that a thought, towards the end of the season, because as you rightly mentioned, he has had his injury problems, and he probably hasn't had his best season, at the level that we know N'Golo Kante could perform. And even Thomas Tuchel said that, we had our best player, the guy who is our De Bruyne, the guy who is our Salah and Mane, for probably not an apple to apple comparison in the sense of the name of the players that he mentioned, but you get the point. He is indispensable for us. So yeah, there is probably a right price, north of 60 million or so. That would be the right price. But if I think of it, who do we replace him with? I don't think Rice is the replacement. Let me just put it out there. Despite all the hype, and despite all, a lot of Chelsea fans saying that, let's bring Declan Rice, I just don't see him being even half as good as N'Golo Kante. Right? He's not. I think he's grossly overrated. He's a good player, grossly overrated at the current, in the current situation. Maybe 3-4 years down the line, he probably would achieve the heights that people think he's capable of. At the moment, he's not. So I don't really think. And Tchouaméni, there was one name floated around, Tchouaméni. He just signed with Real Madrid. So I don't really see who's there to replace him. And in this situation, I think the best course of action is to give N'Golo Kante a new contract. Because if we can sort his injury problems, and if Tuchel uses him wisely, because we have some options, right? He has played Jorginho and Kovacic, Loftus-Cheek and Kovacic, Loftus-Cheek and Jorginho. And we would also have Gallagher coming back. We would also have Gilmore coming back. So you have that option to kind of, rotate that double six, the double pivot, as he prefers to play, as Tuchel prefers to play. So N'Golo doesn't have to play all 38 games. And if he stays fit, I don't really see there is a better defensive midfielder in the world right now than N'Golo Kante. So while there is a good price for him, given that we have an appropriate a replacement that could actually fill in his boots, but I don't see there is a replacement that could actually fill in his boots. So in given that, I think N'Golo Kante cannot be sold, should not be sold, and should be given a new contract.
Interesting conversation. That's this kind of conversation we like to have, rather than just talk about, well, this guy moved here and that. These are the things that we like to talk about. So we'll wrap up with one final question for you, Sahil. Frankie de Jong, Manchester United, it's like each day is a new day and a new report and a new rumor that keeps coming out. So the latest, of course, is that Barcelona are trying to push him out. As I said, the comments that are coming through, he wants to leave as well. So the money that has been bandied about, it's probably 100 million euros, 80 million euros plus add-ons. That's what Barcelona apparently want. United probably said 60 plus 10 million euros, so 70. What is the right price do you think that United should pay for someone like Frenkie de Jong? Where they can kind of make that work. And if the band is a deadline as well, they don't want to go past next week. So if that falls through, then who do you think should be the backup option to sign?
For a price that United should be paying, like if you like take the whole situation into consideration, given that Barcelona is a cash-strapped club looking to sell assets, and Frenkie de Jong is a player who definitely lost value over the last few years because he definitely hasn't performed to the heights we expected him to. I don't really think anywhere more than 65 to 70 million euros is something United should be paying. I think 60 by 70 should be the maximum, but it seems like this would be like a United's favorite trademark signing, like the ones they want to make every other summer, like a show of strength and a show of confidence to a show of confidence to Eric Ten Hag that they can pull up these signings and they can like get him players that he wants, like just because they aren't in the Champions League, they wouldn't be like chasing players who aren't at that elite level. So I think that's why they will probably reach like 80-85 million. I think that's where it's going to end up. So sorry, can you please ask the second part again?
If that deal falls through and if it doesn't happen, who do you think should be the backup option that they should go for? There's lots of names mentioned, but
the thing is that Frenkie de Jong, I mean, it all depends on how Ten Hag wants his team to set up. Like, I still don't think Frenkie de Jong on his own is gonna fix any of our midfield problems. He definitely needs another player next to him. So like, depending on how you want to go, you can go for someone like Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, who's like a different kind of player, but would probably like fill up the same role, but would make the team play differently than Frenkie de Jong. Frenkie de Jong is like a more of a carrier and a ball progressor. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic is someone who like tries to get on the end and get in the box and at the end of passing sequences, like more of like a dominating physical presence who can also carry the ball. So both different kind of players, but I don't think there's like an alternative to Frenkie because again it's like we want to fill two roles and not just a single role. So like they would come in pairs. So it would like if we had like one player already set for that defensive midfield role, we wouldn't like we could think about alternatives to Frenkie in a similar mold, but because we don't have the other role confirmed, like I can't really think of any alternatives as such. Like you could go for any elite midfielder and like sign another defensive midfielder that complements him.
Probably the names that I mentioned, of course, is Conrad Lemma, who I think is pretty good. There's also Sangare from PSV. So there's a few players.
These seem like very different players too, right? Like these seem like very different players to Frenkie. Like Sangare and Conrad Lemma are more like defensive midfielders, aren't they? Frenkie is more like a ball carrying
He's more of a. I mean, Adarsh was pretty harsh when he called him like a Jorginho type midfielder. I don't know if he's that though.
No, I think they're very different. Jorginho is a passer. Frankie's a carrier.
Yeah, but I mean,
more like Kovacic with better defensive ability.
Yeah, maybe to an
extent. Yeah. I think Ten Hag wants Frenkie as well because I think he just sees him as that centerpiece of that midfield, someone who can kind of. I think he sees him as a.
I think it would be probably a perfect choice for United because Ten Hag knows how to get the best out of him, right? And given Barcelona's situation, they desperately need money. They have signed Christensen, they have signed a couple of other players.
But they want to sign Lewandowski and they want to sign Rafinha and they want to sign Azpilicueta and they want to sign Marcos Alonso.
But they can't even register the player that they have signed. So they definitely need money. So this is the place where, I mean, this is a situation wherein you could get that, you have that upper hand, right? Sahil mentioned, I don't know what he said, 80 million or something. 85 million.
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous. You could probably, try and get him for 50 odd million. Right?
That's low. No, that's too low. That's too low. No, I don't think they will do 50.
No, I mean,
you could try it.
He hasn't had the best season, right? He didn't have the best time at Barcelona, so that brings his value down.
Yeah, but
the other thing is Barcelona don't want him. Barcelona don't want him.
Xavi wants him. The thing is, but he's also their only sellable asset. Basically, he's the only player that they can get that kind of money for that they want. So that's why they want him.
You should be starting the conversation at 50 million.
I think they will start at 50, but that's not, they're not going to sell it. Probably 60. I would do 65, 65, because it's million euros, right? So
not
euros,
80 million.
Not 80, not 80
Definitely
for
not.
sure. I would go 65 plus
definitely
maybe
not 80
10.
million, because you can get him for lower value, and definitely Ten Hag knows the player. He knows how to get the best out of him. And you know, whatever happened with Barcelona, that they had this you know, player issues, the what is that called, dressing room issues, then managers, frankly they had Koeman and all people, man. So really they didn't really have good managers either to get the best out of the resources that they have. So it's a good time for Manchester United or any other club, frankly, who's negotiating with Barcelona, to have the upper hand at the negotiation table and kind of dictate the terms.
That's what I would think too, but it seems like Barcelona is controlling the terms over here. Like, if Vesquez, it's a compromise. Like, the United is definitely not dictating terms over here, which is very weird. Like Nishikant said, they're right now trying to sell players, trying to raise money, so they should be like taking in less. They should be accepting less money than they probably.
And I think the issue is that the fact that Barcelona don't have a lot of sellable assets. If you had 5 players that you could sell, right, and be like, yeah, these 5 players we can sell, and we can.
They have Dembele.
But he's going to free. He's free. He's not. They're not going to get money.
Oh, he's free.
He's going to be a free, right? Dembele is going to be a free. They just signed Ferran. They can't let him go. Obviously, Pedri is a player, but they're not going to let him go. That just be disaster. They let Pedri
and Gavi as well. Then
those are 2 players. I would prefer Pedri or Gavi or Frankie, to be honest, but they're never going to sell those 2. So that's the thing, right?
And the same goes for Ansu Fati. I guess players like Memphis and all might be sold. They can like probably get you 20-30 million here and there.
Yeah, maybe Memphis might 20. Look, they might get you 10, but those are not the kind of deals that are going to get them over the line. They need a big sale quickly, and that's the thing. They need to do it by 30th June, and the only player who can get that kind of money is Frankie. So they're trying to do what they can. I feel that 65 plus 10 with add-ons is what I would go as a max. Not that you'd be like, no, sorry, we're just going to move on. So because I don't think he's that. But I do think that Ten Hag wants him, because I don't think he sees any other player like him for his system. So I think that's why he wants him, and obviously it'll be a statement. So that'll be something. But we will keep an eye and we'll see what happens there. I mean, I don't know. This is something that's going to run on and on and on and on. So I don't think it's going to be done anytime soon. Of course, there are other midfielders out there, and so we'll see. And of course, only the striker as well. Now that Nunes has gone to Liverpool, in the month that's mentioned is probably Anthony. I will talk about him in the next show. Of course, we'll see how that progresses. But for now, we'll stop here. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to smash a like for Nishikant and for Sahil for joining me. It's very, very happy to have you guys. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciated all of your insights. Yes, I'll let you get back to the beach. Nishikant, I've had to get back to whatever. But thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, remember to share it and also to, of course, comment, share your comments on what has happened in the transfer window so far. What do you think your favorite club should be doing, or even not your favorite club, what they should be doing, the players that they should be signing? Let us know what you thought about that. Do stay tuned. I mean, the transfer window is just open, so we're hoping that some news will come in this week, and we can kind of start working on, we'll try to do reactions to that. We like to do it when it happens rather than when some journalist says it's happened. So therefore, we want to keep that. So, but we'll see. Hopefully, this week we'll get some new news coming. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel, also on YouTube and on Facebook. And we'll see you again very soon. Take care. Goodbye.